The cost of thinking too much. Overthinking doesn't look like chaos. It looks like stillness, still body, tense jaw, eyes wide open in the dark. You're not moving, but your mind won't stop. Every scenario, every word, every version of what could go wrong plays on a loop that won't pause. And the worst part is, it feels like you're doing something, like thinking about it is the same as preparing for it, like worrying harder will protect you better. But it never does. The more you think, the more you freeze. The more you analyze, the less you act. You become a prisoner in a room made of mirrors. Everything reflects, nothing moves. And slowly, you disappear. Because thinking is only useful when it ends in motion. And most of what we call thinking is just fear, dressed up as logic. The Stoics knew this. That's why they didn't try to outthink chaos. They practiced quiet, they practiced control, they practiced return, not to comfort, but to what they could control. Because the mind doesn't fix itself by thinking more. It fixes itself by stepping back and remembering you are not your thoughts, you are the space they pass through. Overthinking isn't you. The mind speaks and you listen. It tells you, you forgot something. You said too much, you'll regret this, and you believe it. Because it sounds like you, because it uses your voice. But here's the truth, thoughts are not you. They're just noise passing through the hallway of your awareness. You don't have to fight them. You don't have to fix them. You just have to step back far enough to see them as they are. Transient, predictable, powerless without your attention. The Stoics called this the view from above. Not just a metaphor, a practice. To see your thoughts like clouds, drifting, changing, dissolving. You are not the storm, you are the sky. The one who watches, the one who chooses, the one who decides when to engage and when to let go. You don't need to stop overthinking, you just need to stop identifying with it. You're not broken, you're just stuck inside a thought that doesn't know when to leave. So show it the door, and remind yourself, silence isn't empty, it's who you are before the next thought arrives. The clouds will pass. Sit still, close your eyes, breathe. Now watch, not your breath, but your mind. Thoughts arrive, fast, loud, uninvited. A mistake from yesterday, a fear about tomorrow, a conversation on repeat. 1,000 voices trying to be first. Don't chase them, don't solve them, just observe. Imagine you're on a mountain, still, solid, unmoved, and everything in your mind is just weather. Thoughts are clouds, moving through, some light, some heavy, some dark enough to storm. But none of them are you. You are not your doubt, you are not your triggers, you are not your what-ifs, you are the sky, not the clutter that passes through it. So when it gets loud, don't react, don't follow, just name it. That's a fear, that's a memory, that's ego, that's noise. Naming is claiming, not to keep, but to release. And when the cloud has no name, it loses its power, because storms lose energy when you stop feeding them attention. This is what the Stoics practiced. Not control over the world, control over perspective. Let the clouds pass, let the mind spin. You stay still, because the one who watches from above cannot be shaken by what moves below. Use your hands to quiet your mind. The mind spins, but the hands, they bring it back. When thoughts become too loud, don't argue with them. Don't analyze them. Do something, anything. Clean the room, wash something slowly. Chop vegetables. Lift something heavy, repair what's broken, build what isn't finished. Use your hands to bring your mind back to the present, because overthinking can't survive where emotion lives. The Stoics lived in action, not debate, not spiral, not endless self-analysis. They believed in work, simple, deliberate, honest movement. It's not about productivity, it's about returning to your center. When the mind feels like a maze, let your body lead you out. The moment your hands move, the cycle breaks. Because fear needs stillness to survive. Let your hands remind your mind, you're not stuck, you're not lost, you're not frozen, you're here. You're moving, you're alive. And that's enough. Not to solve everything, but to change your state. And sometimes that's the only change you need. Impermanence kills clutter. You're overthinking because you're trying to make it permanent. The right decision, the perfect reply, the one path that leads to no pain. But life doesn't offer that. Not to anyone. What it offers is change. Relentless, unapologetic, unavoidable. Everything you fear right now will pass. Everything you crave will pass. Even you will pass. And once you accept that, everything softens, because permanence is a lie, and overthinking is just your mind fighting that truth. The Stoics didn't resist impermanence, they used it. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Why? Because we try to outthink what we were meant to outlive. So stop clinging to the perfect outcome, to the flawless version of yourself, to a timeline that no longer serves you. Breathe in. Let it move. Let today be different than yesterday. Let people change. Let you change. You don't need to make the perfect choice. You need to make the next one. Because all confusion is built on the illusion that things will stay as they are. They won't. And that's not sad. It's liberating. When you stop trying to preserve everything, you finally have space to feel something real. So let go. Let it change. Let it flow through you. That's how the Stoic moves. Not with resistance, but with rhythm. Give worry a window. Worry wants your whole day. Your morning peace, your afternoon focus, your midnight silence. It doesn't knock. It moves in, takes your chair, eats your energy, sleeps in your mind. But here's the truth. You don't have to evict it. Just give it a window, a frame, a space, a boundary. Say this, "I will think about that at 7 p.m. for 15 minutes. And until then, I won't follow it. I won't feed it. I won't make it more real than it needs to be." This is not denial, it's discipline. The Stoics never pretended to be above fear. They just never gave it the schedule. You are allowed to feel uncertain. You are allowed to be afraid. But you are not required to host it all day. Imagine worry as a visitor, not a roommate. It can knock, it can sit, but when the time's up, it leaves. Because you decide when and where it speaks. And when you treat worry like a guest, it stops acting like it owns you. So next time the spiral starts, don't wrestle it. Don't indulge it. Just whisper, "I'll see you at 7, not now," and return to the hour that's actually happening, because that's where your life is. And worry was never invited to live there. Slice the knot. Overthinking always starts with something that feels too big. Too many options, too many what-ifs, too much unknown. So your mind circles it, tries to solve it all at once, ties itself into a knot. It can't undo. But Stoicism doesn't untie the knot, it slices it. Break it, piece by piece, layer by layer, until what looked like a storm is just a list. Don't ask, "What's the right decision?" Ask, "What's the next small thing I can do that moves me forward 1 inch?" That's how motion returns. Write the email, drink the water, stand up, delete 1 file, do 5 push-ups, send 1 message. Tiny acts with massive weight because they break the trance. The Stoics didn't believe in waiting for motivation. They believed in action that creates clarity. Because every big decision is just a stack of small ones. And every tangled thought loses power once it hits the ground as a task. So don't try to solve the whole thing. Cut 1 thread, then another, and eventually, what felt like chaos starts to breathe. You don't need a breakthrough, you need a blade, and the blade is always small. Slice the knot. Start there. Trade control for gratitude. The mind spins when it thinks it needs to control everything. The outcome, their opinion, the timing, the tone, the response. And when none of it moves exactly how you imagined, you spiral. Because the brain was built for survival. It scans for risk, it plans, it tightens. But the Stoics trained a deeper muscle, gratitude. Not as a soft escape, but as a radical refocus. Is the room safe? Is your breath steady? Is your body whole? Then you're already ahead of 1,000 storms that never arrived. Overthinking feeds on possibility. Gratitude feeds on presence. You can't think your way into calm. You have to shift what you see, not what's missing, but what's here. The hands that still work. The friend that texted back, the body that woke up, the breath that held when your voice couldn't. That's not fluff, that's foundation. Because no mind can obsess over control and practice gratitude at the same time. One will win. So choose. Not because everything is perfect, but because something is enough. And if you can name it, you can anchor to it. Control is fragile. Gratitude is fire. Hold it, and the storm will pass around you. Effort over outcome. The reason you're stuck is because you're waiting for a guarantee, the right move, the right words, the perfect plan that can't fail. But Stoicism isn't built on guarantees, it's built on discipline. That doesn't beg for results. You do the work because it's right, not because it's noticed, not because it's rewarded. You show up because it's who you are, not because it changes everything today. That's how the Stoic moves. Without pressure, without obsession, without needing to be understood. Most people act to win, the Stoic acts to align. And when you stop needing the outcome, you become unshakable, because they can't control you with praise. They can't break you with silence. They can't distract you with outcomes that were never yours to hold. You are not here to win the algorithm. You are here to win yourself back. So drop the need to know. Drop the need to land it. Drop the craving for certainty and just act. Clean, true, quiet. Because when the world sees a man who doesn't need anything back, it gets quiet. It listens. Because real power moves without noise and walks without asking for directions. Train your nerves with discomfort. Your nervous system isn't built for clarity. It's built for safety. And every time it senses a crack, it floods you with doubt, with panic, with thoughts you didn't invite. That's why overthinking hits hardest when you feel soft, when your days are too easy, your body too still, your edges too padded. The Stoics knew this, that comfort weakens the threshold, that softness shrinks the soul. So they trained it every day. Cold water, hard ground, long silence, voluntary tension. Not to suffer, but to teach the body that not every signal deserves a spiral. That discomfort isn't danger, it's data. So practice it small, on purpose. Turn the shower colder, wake up earlier, sit with silence longer, delay the scroll, do the hard thing first. Not because you enjoy it, but because it builds something. Every time you face discomfort and stay, you train the part of you that doesn't run. And the more often you stay, the quieter the fear becomes. Because a man who chooses cold isn't afraid of the unknown. A man who makes himself uncomfortable on purpose doesn't panic when discomfort finds him. This isn't masochism. This is mastery, not of the world, but of the nervous system that once ruled you. Train it and reclaim the calm that used to feel impossible. Zoom out. Get free. Stand up. Leave the room, in your mind. Rise above your day, your city, your country, your planet. Now look, that mistake you can't stop replaying, gone. That conversation you can't fix, silent. That anxiety you carry, too small to name. From here, because distance shrinks everything. This is what the Stoics did, daily. They thought about death, not to suffer, but to gain perspective. Memento mori. Remember, you will die, and from that knowing comes freedom. Because if it won't matter when you take your last breath, why let it own you now? If the decision paralyzing you will fade in the face of time, then act. If the fear you feel can't follow you to the grave, then drop it. Not everything needs closure, not everything needs solving. Some things just need a wider frame. So next time you spiral, don't go deeper, go higher. Zoom out until the thing loses its grip. Zoom out until the pressure becomes a whisper. Zoom out until all that's left is this: a breath, a body, a moment you still own. And when you can see from there, you're already free. Ask for wisdom, not approval. Most people don't want answers. They want reassurance, a nod, a "you're right," a voice that says you're doing okay. But that's not clarity, that's comfort. And the Stoic doesn't move to be comforted. He moves to see clearly. So if you must ask, don't ask for validation, ask for perspective. Go to someone who doesn't flinch, someone who won't say what you want, but what you need. Ask them, what am I not seeing? What would you do if this was yours? Where am I lying to myself? Because that's what wisdom does. It doesn't answer, it reveals. Overthinking thrives in echo chambers, in fake mirrors, in circles of people who are just as scared to move. Break that. Find someone who's quieter than you, wiser than you, more tired of lies than comfort, and when they speak, don't debate, don't defend, just listen. Because sometimes, the thing you've been spinning on for weeks takes 5 words from the right voice to break. You don't need approval, you need alignment, and when the fog lifts, you'll remember what it felt like to walk straight again. Not alone, but clear. Think less, live deeper. You've thought enough, spun enough, froze enough. You don't need another theory. You need stillness, a breath, a step, a vow said silently to yourself. That from now on, not every thought gets a reaction. Not every fear gets a seat. Not every question gets to stay open. Because some things don't need solving. They just need space and time and a you that no longer believes every voice in your head. The Stoics didn't erase thought, they outgrew it. They moved, deliberately, quietly, aligned. That's the way. So don't wait for clarity, become it, in how you wake, how you choose, how you leave a moment behind. Without dragging it, think less. Not because thinking is weak, but because living is stronger and deeper. And right now, it's waiting.